Isn't it strange how the busiest days often leave us feeling the emptiest? From sunrise to sunset, you're hustling, checking off tasks, responding to messages, attending meetings. By the time your head hits the pillow, it feels like you've moved mountains, yet haven't moved forward. It's a paradox that many of us live every day. The more we try to control every detail of our schedules, our conversations, our outcomes, the more we end up feeling out of control. If you've ever ended your day wondering, what was all that for? You're not alone. Today, we're diving into the timeless wisdom of Stoicism, a philosophy from ancient Rome that holds surprisingly modern answers to our daily chaos. But here's the twist. It's not about gaining more control, it's about letting go. Because sometimes, releasing your grip is how you finally hold on to what truly matters. If something in today's message strikes a chord, do us a small favor, hit that subscribe button. It's free, and it supports this channel's mission to help you live stronger, calmer, and more intentionally. And trust me, you'll want to stick around, because every moment of this video is designed to reshape how you experience the storms of life. Let's begin, because real strength doesn't come from conquering the world outside. It starts within. Inside your mind is where every battle begins. Thoughts spin like autumn leaves caught in a whirlwind, pulling at your focus, shaping your mood and distorting your sense of peace. But here's a powerful Stoic truth. You don't have to be ruled by this storm. Stoic philosophers like Epictetus taught that the ultimate freedom is control over one's mind. We may not have power over the world's chaos, but we have absolute command over how we respond. That's not just philosophy, it's power. Imagine your mind as a house. Every thought that arrives is a guest knocking on your door. Some bring joy, others bring pain. But you don't have to let them all in. And you certainly don't have to serve them tea and let them stay forever. Let's make this practical. The next time a stressful thought shows up, pause. Don't follow it. Don't fight it. Just acknowledge it. This pause? That's your power. That's the space where you shift from reacting impulsively to choosing intentionally. Ask yourself, is this thought helpful? Is it even true? Most of the time, our most distressing thoughts are rooted not in facts, but in fears. When you question a thought, you begin to dissolve its power. Next comes redirection, a key Stoic skill. You can't control traffic. You can't control other people's behavior, but you can choose what you focus on. That choice determines your emotional experience. So, instead of feeding anger or anxiety, redirect your attention. Step outside. Breathe deeply. Do something meaningful. Reflect. Take back control by choosing what deserves your energy. Now, let's be clear, controlling your mind doesn't mean suppressing emotions. Emotions aren't enemies, they're messengers. The Stoics never said, don't feel. They said, don't be ruled by feelings. You can acknowledge sadness without becoming it. You can feel fear without acting from it. This is emotional sovereignty. You are not your emotions. You are the observer, the guide. And once you begin to relate to your emotions in this way, you experience life with more clarity, more calm, and more choice. Life, with all its unpredictability, often feels like a puzzle where the pieces don't quite fit. That's where Stoicism enters, not with a promise to make life easy, but with a mindset that makes life navigable. Epictetus once said that happiness comes not from controlling everything around us, but from aligning our expectations with reality. That's radical acceptance-centered apathy, but awareness. Not detachment from life, but a deeper, clearer engagement with it. Picture yourself watching a play. You can't change the script. You don't control the actors. But you do control how you receive the performance. Life is no different. The economy, the weather, the choices of others. These are all actors on the stage. Stoicism teaches you to watch them with calm observation, not blind resignation, but grounded resolve. Acceptance, in the Stoic sense, is a strategic decision. When you stop wasting energy on what you can't change, you free that energy to focus on what you can change. You can't stop someone from being rude, but you can decide how to respond. You can't predict every setback, but you can choose to keep moving forward. This is the real power Stoicism offers. Resilience. Like a sailor on open seas, a Stoic doesn't curse the storm. They learn to navigate it. And every storm becomes a chance to grow stronger, more focused, more at peace. So ask yourself, what are you still trying to control that you need to release? What emotion, expectation, or illusion are you clinging to that's holding you back? Let it go. Peace doesn't come from controlling life's chaos, it comes from accepting what you can't control and mastering your response to it. Our ability to cope with adversity is like a muscle, and acceptance is the daily training that builds its strength. At first, this might look like catching yourself when you're resisting something, a traffic jam, a sudden delay, or an unexpected piece of bad news. And instead of reacting with frustration, choosing calm. One small act of conscious acceptance becomes the foundation of a more peaceful, powerful inner world. Each time you accept reality without protest, you're reinforcing your resilience. That obstacle that once felt insurmountable, it becomes something manageable, something you can handle. That's the magic of daily Stoic practices. Transformation happens not through grand gestures, but through quiet, consistent perspective shifts. So as you go about your day, begin to see each unexpected moment not as a disruption, but as a challenge sent specifically to help you grow. What if this traffic jam is your training ground for patience? What if this delay is your chance to practice letting go? This mindset turns life into a classroom, with every moment teaching you how to respond more wisely. Remember the core Stoic principle. It's not events that disturb us, but our judgments about them. Change your judgments, and you change your emotional world. That's real power. And speaking of what disturbs us, few things generate more anxiety than uncertainty. Ironically, uncertainty is the only constant in life. We imagine we're building on solid ground, only to discover the terrain shifts beneath us. This is where Stoicism becomes a powerful ally. The Stoics embraced the nature of change. They understood that trying to predict and control the future is often what creates stress, not the uncertainty itself, but our resistance to it. Consider how much time we spend trying to plan every detail of tomorrow, next week, or next year, imagining worst-case scenarios, preparing for every what if. But life is not a straight highway with clear signs and exits. It's a winding path through dense forest, where the next step might lead to a stunning view or a steep climb. Stoicism teaches us not to fear that next turn, but to meet it with presence and courage. This begins with acceptance. We have limited control over external events. The economy, beyond us, the weather, out of our hands, the behavior of others, unpredictable. But we always retain control over how we respond. And that's where our real influence lies. This doesn't mean giving up on goals. It means holding them loosely, being ready to pivot as life shifts. Imagine a skilled sailor. They don't curse the wind when it changes. They adjust their sails. That's what Stoic acceptance looks like in motion. And here's the gift. When you stop demanding certainty, you gain something better: freedom. Freedom to adapt. Freedom to innovate. Freedom to grow. You stop being paralyzed by fear of the unknown and start moving forward despite it. Instead of obsessing over the perfect outcome, you become more engaged in the process. That's where real fulfillment lives in effort, not an outcome. Stoicism makes you agile in the face of change, resilient when plans fall through, and centered amidst the unexpected. Now, let's talk about something else that tends to shake our inner peace: praise and criticism. Like waves on the ocean, they rise and fall, sometimes lifting us up, sometimes crashing down. But here's the Stoic view: you don't have to ride every wave. The Stoics taught the art of indifference, see not coldness or detachment, but emotional independence from others' opinions. This is not apathy, it's wisdom. It's knowing that your worth isn't defined by applause or insult. Epictetus put it simply: if someone praises me, that's their opinion, not my achievement. The moment you internalize that, you begin to anchor your self-worth not in what others say, but in how you live. That doesn't mean ignoring all feedback. It means receiving it without letting it define you. Praise is pleasant, but temporary. Criticism stings but passes. Neither one should be your compass. Instead, let your compass be your values. Live in alignment with them, and you'll find a calm confidence that no compliment or insult can shake. You'll stop acting for approval and start acting from purpose. Practicing this starts with simple reflection. Are you doing what's right or what's popular? Are you seeking growth or applause? When you act from your principles, not from pressure, you develop an inner solidity that outlasts the crowd's cheers or jeers. In time, you'll find that fewer things disturb you. You'll react less and reflect more. And in that stillness, you'll discover the power of a life built on intention, not validation. In the last section, we explored how practicing Stoic acceptance can calm your inner world and build resilience in the face of uncertainty. But there's another layer to this journey, one that involves confronting a deeper obstacle: our ego. When you stop reacting to every opinion and start filtering praise and criticism through your own reason, something profound happens. You begin to develop a self-assurance that isn't easily rattled. It's no longer about seeking approval. It's about standing firm in your values. This is confidence rooted in awareness, not applause. This kind of confidence isn't loud or boastful. It's quiet. It's steady. It shows up when you're alone with your thoughts and still feel grounded. It's the kind of strength you build when no one's watching and no one is cheering. But let's talk about a common trap: the need to always be right. Have you ever caught yourself arguing, not because the topic truly matters, but because your ego couldn't bear to be wrong? We've all been there. Stoicism invites us to rethink this impulse. What if being right wasn't the goal? What if peace was? The Stoics didn't value victory in argument, they valued clarity, wisdom, and humility. Epictetus suggested that we lead with listening, not speaking. That when we stop defending and start understanding, we open ourselves to deeper insight, not just about issues, but about each other. This doesn't mean staying silent in the face of injustice or compromising on truth. It means pausing to ask, is this argument aligned with my values, or is it just feeding my pride? Most of the time, we're not defending truth, we're defending ego. When you let go of the need to always be right, something incredible happens. You free up massive amounts of mental and emotional energy. Energy that can now be used for growth, for learning, for real connection. You also lower stress, deepen relationships, and live with more openness and grace. And here's the deeper Stoic insight. Certainty is often an illusion. The universe is too vast, too complex for us to grasp in full. Embracing this uncertainty isn't weakness, it's wisdom. It keeps us humble, curious, and evolving. And it's far more rewarding than the fleeting thrill of being right. Another hidden thief of inner peace is expectation. We write invisible scripts for how life should unfold and then feel crushed when reality doesn't follow the plot. But as the Stoics remind us, life rarely goes according to script. Seneca said, "We suffer more in imagination than in reality." It's the unmet expectation, not the actual event, that causes most of our disappointment. So what's the Stoic response? Temper your expectations, not to kill your dreams, but to root them in reality. Hope for the best, but be prepared for whatever arises. This mindset turns disappointment into resilience. It's not about pessimism, it's about preparation. When you expect less, you become more grateful. You open yourself to surprise, to joy, to the adventure of not knowing exactly what comes next. You start focusing on what you can do. Show up, give your best, and release the outcome. This isn't resignation, it's wisdom in action. It's understanding that life flows like a river, and you're here not to dam it up, but to navigate it with skill. And with all that said, let's talk about a tiny word that holds immense power. Number. In a world that screams more meetings, more obligations, more expectations, learning to say no is revolutionary. Stoicism teaches us that self-mastery includes knowing your limits. Every yes must be weighed against your time, your values, your energy. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself to focus only on what truly matters. When you say no to what distracts you, you say yes to your real purpose. Imagine your day like a garden. Say yes to everything, and the weeds take over. Say no wisely, and you give your attention to what you're truly trying to grow. Saying no isn't selfish. It's strategic. It's an act of respect for yourself, your time, and your values. And yet, it might make some people uncomfortable. But living a Stoic life isn't about pleasing everyone. It's about living rightly. Each no becomes a yes to peace, to depth, to intentionality. And that is how you begin building an unshakable focus. In the next part, we'll explore how Stoic habits transform your daily actions from moments of procrastination to purposeful momentum. Get ready to take back your day with clarity and conviction. In the previous section, We uncovered how saying no to the non-essential is actually a resounding yes to your values, time, and self-respect. Now, we dive deeper into the discomfort we often avoid and the mortality we often ignore. Both can become powerful teachers when seen through the lens of Stoicism. Let's begin with discomfort. We tend to resist discomfort. We associate it with pain, uncertainty, or failure. But Stoicism teaches us that the true treasures of life growth, resilience, character are often hidden on the far side of hardship. When we avoid discomfort, we delay our potential. When we face it head-on, we discover just how capable we really are. Every challenge is an opportunity to expand the edges of who we are. Think about it. The moments you're most proud of probably weren't the easy ones. They were the times you endured, persisted, and overcame. Whether it's learning a new skill, adapting to a changing environment, or making a difficult life transition, discomfort is your training ground. The more you engage with it, the more flexible and adaptable you become. These qualities are not optional in the modern world, they're essential. Life moves fast, and the ability to grow through change is the new strength. But embracing discomfort does more than build strength. It cultivates humility. It reminds you that you're not finished, not a finished product, not above failure, not immune to mistakes. And that's a gift. It keeps you grounded. It keeps you learning. It keeps you awake. The Stoics believed in this ongoing pursuit of self-improvement. For them, every trial was a teacher. Each obstacle was a mirror reflecting who they were and who they had the potential to become. Now let's shift to something even more confronting: our mortality. At first glance, the idea of meditating on death might seem grim. But in the Stoic tradition, it's not about fear, it's about clarity. Memento mori, remember? You must seize a call to dread life's end. It's a call to live more fully while you can. Marcus Aurelius wrote often about treating each day as if it were his last, not with panic, but with presence. When you realize time is finite, the trivial things lose their hold, annoyances shrink, grievances dissolve, and suddenly, what really matters comes into focus. You begin to ask deeper questions. Who do I want to be? What legacy am I creating? What truly deserves my attention? Contemplating mortality helps us strip away the noise. It clarifies. It prioritizes. It sobers us into purpose. And no, it's not about living every day in a frenzy to check off a bucket list. It's about living each day with intentionality. When you embrace death as a natural part of life, fear starts to lose its grip. You stop bargaining with time and start honoring it. This acceptance, this peace with impermanencies, what gives weight and meaning to your days. As Seneca said, life is long if you know how to use it. The problem isn't that we have too little time. It's that we waste so much of it. We postpone dreams. We put off conversations. We delay meaning. But when you remember that this moment is the only one guaranteed, everything changes. The way you greet a friend, the way you show up to your work, the way you speak to yourself. Every breath becomes sacred. Every decision, an act of authorship. You stop waiting to live and start living now. So, Here's your reflection for today. If this were your last year alive, what would you change? Not in a frantic rush, but in a quiet, honest recalibration of your habits, your focus, your presence. Not every answer will come today. But asking the question, that's where the shift begins. Thank you for walking this journey with us here at Stoic Journal. If this message stirred something in you, don't let it fade. Keep going. Continue with one of the recommended videos on screen. Let's keep building a life of wisdom, courage, and deep presence together. See you in the next chapter. Just longer, but fuller and wiser.